Okay, hey guys, I'm back with another analysis for Geoff Castellucci. Um, I have to be a little bit quieter today because I woke up early to do this and I'm the only one up. And it's also more fun to do in the mornings because I have like, I don't know, I'm not a true bass, but it's always fun. So I tried to analyze a pentatonics arrangement which got blocked on my channel, so that was mildly annoying. Um, but I'm going to try to figure out a loophole to that. Um, So I'll try to get that back up soon. But for now, we're looking at House of the Rising Sun as arranged and performed by Geoff Castellucci, and this is one of my favorite of his arrangements. It's so freaking cool. So I won't blabber anymore. Let's get into it.
There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun, and it's been the ruin of many a poor boy. And God, I know I'm one. My mother was a
So there's actually not a whole ton to comment on for the beginning of this arrangement. He does the I find that he actually does this quite a bit, where uh at least several times, where I saw this in 16 tons as well, which we'll get to another day, where he just starts it with the one voice, and as the piece builds, he adds more and more parts. Like this time he added the from the backgrounds, like the humming, and the snaps. So, we've talked about pacing before, how it's really important when you're doing arrangements. Um, you don't want to get to the cool stuff too fast or else it's not going to feel rewarding. And I think he does like this is one of the best arrangements at this. But we could talk more about that as it comes.
tailor. Sold my new blue jeans.
Also, the use of household objects for sound effects isn't revolutionary, but I always find it cool in the arrangements and stuff like this because not that many people do it for some reason. But it adds a really cool effect.
His daddy was a gambling man way down in New Orleans.
So for those who don't know, that's an A1 in chest voice, which is really impressive. It's not the lowest he's gone in chest, I think, because in 16 tons he got to an A flat, and in Misty Mountains he hit a G, which is ridiculous. But one thing I mentioned in Misty Mountains is that not every low note he hit fit the tone well. Um, but I don't think he has that problem in that piece. I think the way he arranged it, the way it builds up to those low notes, and the fact that this A is on an impact where the guitar comes in and it starts to really build, um, I think it fits really well. I don't think he hits a low note that sounds out of place here. Um, this is one of the best songs at showing off his full range. Um, and I think it's just really impressive. So if you repeat a section when you're doing an arrangement like this, like he was repeating the humming part. He does that like 3 or 4 times, and each time he adds something new, so it never feels like it loses motion. And I think I commented on that in Saddle Up, how sometimes the soloists back to back, if you don't add anything or if they're not building to anything, it can feel mundane. So here I think it's really good. Like the first time it's just him and the snaps, and I think the backgrounds are doing it all 3 times. Let's check. Yeah. Okay. So the first time he does this humming pattern, it's just the lead singer and the snaps, and then for the second time, he adds the stomping and clapping, like the percussion effects. And then this time he adds the higher guitar part. So it's just the fact that like it doesn't stop building as we get to the verse. It's a really good arrangement technique. If you're doing something like this, you always want to keep in mind where is this going, or what are we building to.
One and only thing a gambler ever has is a suitcase and a trunk. The one
So the gunshot. Actually, is that the suitcase closing? Because I didn't notice that.
case and a trunk. The
Okay, I think it's a gunshot, but he just closed the suitcase on right on the left. But anyway, one thing I will comment on is Jeff's impressive ability to fit the tone of whatever he's singing. Because in Misty Mountains we got a nice like mellow resonant tone, and in Saddle Up we got a bright I guess like bluegrass pop tone, like jazzy. And here we have like a heavy funk tone, and that takes a lot of training. Um, and you really have to be able to affect the voice you're trying to create. I can't do it very well yet, but because I'm a relatively new singer. Um, so I really appreciate that Jeff's able to do this. It adds a lot to every arrangement.
one and only time a gambler satisfied is when he's on a drunk. So now, mothers, tell your children, yeah, not to do what I've done.
I'm always excited for that part. The E flat one subharmonic. Um, I don't know if he's trying to hit the E flat. And look, I checked with the keyboard; it is an E flat, but it kind of like dips flat to a D. It's kind of an interesting choice because the E flat breaks the A blues key that we're in. I think. Never mind, it doesn't. I'm sorry, that was my mistake. But one thing I also wanted to comment on is the sort of like ad lib part here. So instead of putting the "so now" lyric in the lead voice, he puts it in the backgrounds, and then the backgrounds do their thing with like their longer like half notes, whole notes, and the lead Jeff is kind of like ad libbing, which is a music term for basically taking the melody and improvising it just a little bit. Like he probably didn't improvise it, he probably wrote it out, but it creates the effect of ad lib because it's not the melody we're used to hearing, especially like dividing it between the backgrounds and the soloist. Um, so that's a really cool technique to mix things up in the arrangement. So I think that's a cool effect, and also the lighting a match in the background after the E flat one. I think that's cool.
Tell your children, yeah, not to do what I've done. Spend your life in fear and misery in the house of the rising sun.
So one thing we've talked about before is the syllables. Um, you always have to be conscious of what the background singers are doing in terms of syllables because every syllable has a different resonance. So if you're singing like an ah syllable, that's gonna have a much different resonance than an syllable. Like the is much richer. Um, and it's also the same if you're going to switch the backgrounds to the lyrics. Um, and what I think is cool is how whenever Jeff has the backgrounds doing something higher in the range, it's always a lot more soft than the like the harsh tone of the soloist. Um, because it creates a cool contrast. Like we'll go back and
In the house of the rising sun.
like it almost like you can almost tell like he's trying to be a different. He's trying to sound like a different person when the backgrounds do of the rising sun. Um, and I think he sells it pretty well. So that's very good on him. he didn't do this before when he had the humming part. Um, when he goes to the humming here, he has the backgrounds doing a minor triad, I think. Not a triad, but he has them on the root in a blues key, which is A. That's high. Is it A4? A3? I don't know. But anyway, he didn't do this before, so the point I'm getting to is like last time we talked about everything he does differently as he's doing the humming, like as it builds, and he didn't have the backgrounds breaking the humming part before. So I like that he's adding something new to the humming part again to keep it interesting. Again, like we talked about, that's a really good technique. So in arrangements like this, I like how so fun fact, I played with a jazz ensemble for like 7 years. Um, so in stuff like this, I can kind of like imagine it being played by a big band. Like the last time he goes through that humming part, the background vocal, it starts on like the A and then goes down to the 5 and then goes down to the 4 and then 3-1 in the blues key, or the blues scale. Um, and I don't know, it's just a really cool background effect. It's not something that he did in arrangements like 16 tons. Um, so I appreciate that he's going for like something a little bit different, something a little spicier, a little fresher. You're the 8/5. Mhm.
Well, I've got one foot on the platform, yeah. The other's on the train.
He kills it with that high harmony. And I like how how as he does this last verse, he's switching in and out the background vocals from doing the actual lyrics and a humming or an ooh syllable.
Yeah. The other's on the platform.
Like they do the 1 foot on, and then they immediately switch back to their ooh.
Well, I've got one foot on the platform, yeah.
It's just it adds a lot of contrast and motion to the piece, which we talked about several times in the past. Motion is always important. What are you building to? Where are you going?
The others on the train. I'm going back to New Orleans to wear that ball and chain. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. They call the Rising Sun.
That's another instance of the sort of like ad lib feel we're going for, like the almost improvised. Um, and you hear that a lot, like if you have like a jazz piece with a single soloist. Um, I had a few where it was just like a trumpet solo that would responded to the calling of the rest of the ensemble. So the ensemble would play melody and the trumpet soloist would play over it. Sometimes he would echo us by like a couple of measures, which is what Geoff does here. Um, or sometimes he would play the same thing or like do it in a higher harmony. Which, by the way, the screaming trumpet always sounds really cool. You can never go wrong with a screaming trumpet. Don't quote me on that though. So I want to go back and listen to it again. I like how the backgrounds are doing the melody in 3-part harmony, and then the lead Geoff has his I think in choirs they call it a discanto or something, where he sings over the rest of the ensemble, and it's a really cool effect.
They call the Rising
I'm sorry, I'm not experienced enough to be able to tell if these background vocals are in head voice because it kind of sounds like that because like I said, it has a brighter tone than his chest range. I might be wrong, it might even be falsetto. I don't know. So if one of you could let me know, that would be awesome. So you can never go wrong if you're trying to end an arrangement with repeating the last line a couple of times. Um, but Jeff doesn't actually do that. He sings out the last verse, and then he repeats the last line once, and then okay. So I'll be honest, I don't actually know the original song. In fact, I kind of heard that nobody knows the original song. It didn't just like pop up everywhere at once, like a long time ago. But anyway, he repeats the last line of the last verse twice, and then he adds the "in the house of the rising sun" tag, um, which is you can never go wrong with that. Adding a tag at the end of the song, it's always cool, and it always has like a surprising, like wow that was cool effect, especially when Jeff drops the A1 at the end. So he does, and God, I know I'm one. He does that twice, and like we talked about, he's actually doing the opposite. Starting to wind it down. Um, so the backgrounds do the first time, and then they kind of back off to make way for the soloist Jeff doing it, and then they all just wind down and build to the very last chord where it's just the soloist Jeff. You hear how the instrumentation there slowly just falls apart. Um, and the guitar adds a lot to that. I don't know if he's using an actual guitar. It doesn't. It might be some kind of electric guitar, or if he's using a computer to do that. But either way, it adds a lot to the falling apart idea that we're going for the end here. And one of my favorite things about this arrangement and 16 tons, which again we're gonna get to really soon, is how he doesn't go out of his way to just do some crazy, ridiculously low thing at the end. I mean, the A1 is already amazing on its own, but a lot of the bass singers that we see would try to like maybe, like drop an A0 or something, just because like they want to show off how what they can do. Um, so I appreciate that he doesn't sing low for the sake of singing low. Most of the time, he sings low if it fits the arrangement. Um, and the lowest he hit was the A flat one, or maybe it was a D1. Maybe it slipped into the D1, like towards the middle. But even that, it felt like it fit. It didn't feel like it jut out like that one in Misty Mountains that you can go back and watch. So like I said, I think every low note fits. Um, it's always just the right tone. It's always just the right volume, the right balance. Um, so yeah, another great arrangement from Mr. Castellucci. Um, I will be back with more of these, and I will try to get the pentatonics ones up. Um, so without further ado, I will see you guys in the next one. Be sure to like and subscribe, and come back for more.